Somehow I still got here. So, is there anything that you want me to speak on that you feel like is pertinent?
So, kind of the idea, and this is really, Tyler and Gary's brainchild, but the benefits that we see in the department are kind of twofold. One is to give inmates hope. Most of us lived a rough life, and to see people come in and spend time, energy, and effort with them, that's a big deal, right?
Absolutely.
The other part is as important, and that's a lot of our staff only get to see that person that returns back to prison. They never get to see a success case. Yeah. So knowing that they've impacted people's lives is a big deal for our staff. So Tyler and Gary did a great job 2 weeks ago just talking about the impact that our staff had on the people. So those kind of two things. If you're good with them.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I never get nervous to speak. I'm nervous. It's probably because we're in prison.
Right. That could be it.
Look, we're fairly certain to let you out. It's a
50 chance.
My anxiety's gonna go through the roof. I'm getting locked in, man. I've tried to avoid it, and I'm still in prison.
Don't let anybody in. Fortunately, they got so many weapons. It's a lot hard. Pulling this off. You bet.
How are you?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm
nice
Keaton.
to see you.
Nice to meet you.
Go ahead and come on down. Down the chapel, just follow the yellow brick road.
Hold up. We got everybody.
Let anybody in here.
They keep saying that, and it really worries me. How are you?
Okay, here you go. Ready?
Always. Thanks, buddy. Usually I don't get nervous to speak, but when they walked me in the prison, I'm nervous. Oh, all right. Let me gather myself for a minute. And I thought I was walking into like orange outfits, not white. So I'm like, are we in church or are we at prison? Where are we at? All right. This is an absolute honor. I do charge a lot to speak, just because I don't love to go out and speak to a lot of people, but this was an opportunity that I jumped on. Because I decided over the last, about 2 years, that all I want to do for the rest of my life is make a huge change in other people's lives. And when I mean other people, I mean everybody. Women, children, men, prison, anything. I want to help people. And when I made that decision, I realized that in the quest of doing that, I would probably be in some crazy situations like today. So I feel like today's an honor, and I've got a few things that I want to talk about and share with you. And then I want to do a Q&A, which I think will be kind of cool, where you guys can ask questions and I'm going to answer some questions. So as I talk today, if a question or a thought comes to mind of something that you want answered, be prepared to ask it, and let's walk through it. So here's what I want to start with, and hopefully you guys will find the humor in this. When I was 18 years old, I had graduated high school. I was a really good football player. I got recruited to go and play in Ephraim at Snow College. So I went down to Snow College, and I was the biggest dipshit in the world, okay? I don't know how you guys feel about swearing in church, but I'm going to swear a little bit. I know this is a church. And I was just an absolute menace to society. I was not prepared to be on my own by any means. I went down there and I played football, and I was fairly good. But while I was there, I partied too hard, and I partied a lot. I ended up going to a party it was the beginning of the season. And I came back from the party the next day, sobering up. And I was sitting outside, and one of our friends came up, younger girl, and she told me, and I had a Polynesian brother that essentially my family had adopted that was there with me. We were actually outside hanging out. We were both sitting outside, and this girl that we knew came, and all emotional. She was all worked up. She said, hey, I don't know what happened, but I think I was raped last night at the party. I thought, holy shit, okay. And she told us about this experience. Now, I was 18 and I was riled. I thought, well, let's go pay this guy a visit. So I went to the apartments in Ephraim, knocked on the door. Now, my brother, he was big like me. He was actually bigger than I was. He was 6'3", about 380. And I said, what are we going to do? And he said, well, I'll show you what we're going to do. So we knock on the door. Kid opens the door, answers. He says, what do you want? I said, well, I heard that you did some shit last night at the party. And he said to me, well, what's it to you? And before I could say anything, I see my fat brother's fist hit him, knock him completely out. His roommates come to the door. They shut the door. I kicked the door off the hinges. I run in there. He's now coming to. And we beat him pretty bad. I thought, whatever, this guy deserved it. He did some stupid shit. And we left. No big deal. Went back to our dorm room, got suited up in our football pads, got about halfway to practice, and this is how stupid I was. The police came. You got to come with us. And I thought, what's going on? Why are we getting in trouble? So they handcuff me at football practice. They take me back, and I'm still so stupid, I don't know what I'm in trouble for. I kicked in a door and beat someone up. So I get there, we get to the police station, they debrief us, they tell us what's going on, and I'm like, oh man, I don't know. I guess I probably shouldn't have done that. That was stupid. Well, luckily, my brother, he was only 17. So we're both sitting in the room with the police, and they go, you got to come with us. We're going to juvie. So they take him to juvie. I'm stuck, and they say to me, hey, throw your clothes up. You're getting locked up. I was like, what do you mean I'm getting locked up? It was just a fight. And they said, no. You broke and entered. You assaulted, and you assaulted with a deadly weapon. I thought, wait a second. What do you mean I assaulted with a deadly weapon? He said, you guys are huge. You can kill somebody with your fist. That's a deadly weapon. Oh, shit. All right. So you guys know, you get dressed up. I say, hey, can I have a phone call? I call my mom. I'm like, Mom. And she, right away, why does it say you're calling from Ephraim jail? I said, well, I need you to come get me out of jail. And she said, you got in a fight again, didn't you? Yeah, Mom. Click. She hung up the phone on me. Oh my gosh. All right, I guess I'm going to do this. They put me back there, and I get locked up, and I've been there for about a week. 18-year-old kid, didn't know nothing. Well, I finally get to talk to, who was horrible, the public defender. And he says, hey man, I think you're looking at 3 to 5 years. I said, what do you mean 3 to 5 years? He said, dude, you broke into somebody's house and you beat them half to death. You're not getting out. That's from my lawyer. So now I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, I guess this is serious. And for some reason, it was like my brain started working. I was like, okay, you're an idiot. You really messed up. You did some stupid shit here. So I sit in jail for about 3 more weeks. The story of what had happened actually got out. Luckily for me, it had gotten out to the judge and to everybody. Ephraim's not that big. About what this kid had done. And the kid actually ended up in jail like 2 weeks later. He may or may not have gotten beat up again by me. I don't know, allegedly. While I was in court, and probably most of you know this, I showed up in court in my orange jumpsuit, and I was shackled, hands and feet shackled, and I walked into the courtroom. And I sat there for my sentencing or whatever, because I didn't know what the hell was going on. And I looked back, and the only person that was there was my dad. My mom didn't come. She was too pissed off at me. And my dad didn't say anything to me. He was pretty frustrated. And I remember having a conversation with him that hit me like a ton of bricks right before court started. And it was, I was always worried that this is what was going to end up happening, as I'm shackled like an idiot in the courtroom. So I stand in front of the judge, and the judge says, I'm taking your time of incarceration of 5 years and $25,000 fine. That's all I heard was 5 years and $25,000 fine. And I passed out in the courtroom. Talk about a sissy. All I heard was I'm going to prison for 5 years and I got $25,000 that I'm in trouble for. Well, what he really said was, I'm taking your time of 3 weeks that you've been in jail, and your sentence could be 5 years and $25,000, and I'm bringing it down to 1 week in jail, and then you need to fix the door. That's what he said. So I get back up, and I said to my lawyer, I'm like, I'm going to prison? He's like, no. You got to go back to jail for 1 more week, and then you got to pay for the door. Oh, okay, cool. So I shuffle on out of the courtroom. I get in there, and I had one more conversation with my dad. I'm really, really frustrated with you. But I know that you can change. My dad was really, really sick when I was growing up, and I knew he wasn't going to live for a long time. When he said that to me, it hit me really hard. So I went back to jail. I served my week, paid my fine. I left school. I left playing football, and I went home. And I said, I need to make some huge changes. And I'm an idiot, so there's a lot of work that I got to put in. So I decided, I was Mormon, I'm going to go and be a missionary. That's what most people did. They laughed. So I said, I'm going to go be a missionary, and when I go and do this, I'm actually going to do what I need to do to change. So I went to the church and I said, hey, I'm going to be a missionary, and they laughed at me. He goes, well, you just got out of jail. You can't. What are you talking about? I'm like, no, that's what I want to do. And I specifically remember one of the leaders said to me, well, you got a lot of changing that you got to do, brother. I said, I agree with you. I agree. So I put in the work and the time to essentially become a missionary. Now on my mission, I'll be very frank with you, I was not very concerned about anything else but changing me. So a mission's 2 years, and on a mission, missionaries, they do nothing but prep and teach. That's all they do. So I took that time and I spent every waking moment changing my life. Now, when I say I spent every waking moment, I memorized the Bible word for word. I knew every single word in that 66-book Bible. I knew it like the back of my hand. I spent hours praying to change. I spent hours daily changing myself, actually taking actionable items and doing things to change me. I wanted to change every single thing about me. And I was just given 2 years to do nothing else but change my entire life and the trajectory in which my life was headed. Which realistically, and I said it when we showed up here, it was probably supposed to be here. So I put the time in, I put the work in, I dedicated myself to changing nothing but me. I focused on me. I worried about me. I thought about me. I did everything that I could possibly do in 2 years. I woke up and I went to bed, and in between that time, I worked on me. I became a better person. I became stronger. My mind became stronger. I worked on 5 things: my physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and financial health. That's all I did for 2 years. I was given, and I'll call it a prison sentence because that's what a mission feels like. I was given a 2-year sentence to change my shit around, to change everything. And I became this idea of a person that I wanted to be. And I had a vision as for who I wanted to become. And God willing, I was given time to do it. I was placed in a jail cell for 2 years. And if you don't know about what missionaries do, they don't do anything else but study and preach. That's it. You wake up, you go to bed, you study, and you preach. So I took that time. And the whole time, I was getting letters from my father who was getting more sick and more sick. So much so that towards the end of my mission, I received multiple letters from my mother and from my other siblings that said, I don't know if Dad's going to be here when you get back. And I took that as I could, and I kept pushing to be a better man every day, day in and day out. And I changed every day, day in and day out. Every day I woke up, something was better. Something was changing. Something was progressing. Until when I would wake up, I didn't recognize the old me. I only saw the one that I wanted to become. And luckily enough for me, I was given 2 years to do that. So let me tell you, when I got off my mission, and my dad was a hard man. When I got off my mission, he had broke through security at the airport. This is not a joke. My uncle, his brother, was head of security at Salt Lake City Airport. He went through. They weren't supposed to let him in. They were pissed about it. He said, I gotta be there. I gotta see him. I got off the airplane, and my father ran up to me like I had never seen in my life. And he hugged me. And he said to me, I am so damn proud of you and who you've become. The man who left, or rather the boy who left, is not the man who I embrace. For the first time in my entire life, I heard him say he was proud of me because he saw the man that I had become over 2 years. He saw the work that I had put in to change the shit that I was doing. And I got to tell you guys, knowing that he was dying, there was not a greater piece of wording that could have come from his mouth than I was proud of who you are. 3 months later, after I had been home, he passed away. Actually in my arms in our living room. And before he went unconscious, the last conversation we had, he told me that he needed me to become this man because I was now going to be the patriarch of our family. I had 5 siblings and a mother who needed me to step up and do what I needed to do to take care of them while he was going to die. He told me as sweetly and softly as he could, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of who you've become. I'm proud of everything that you have done up to this point. And I know and I trust as I pass that you're going to take care of everything that you need to, because the man that stands in front of me is a better man than I thought I could ever see in the son that you were. And then he passed away. Now, the reason that I tell you guys that story, I know what it's like to make mistakes. I know what it's like to make mistakes that keep you here for years and years and years and maybe even life. But I also know that that allots anyone time to change themselves. Now, some of you may never get out of here. And that's a harsh reality. But you still have the choice and the option right now to change every single thing about who you are. The person that made the mistakes. The man who did what he did to get here. You have an opportunity right now to wake up, work on you, and change who you are in the very core of what makes you. And every single day when you wake up, you get the option to say, I don't like who I was, and I desire to be somebody better. Now let me tell you the blessing that comes with that. 2 months ago, I brought my mom into my office and I handed her a debit card. I said, she's 56. I said, Mom, you don't need to work anymore. You're done. You're now retired and you don't have to worry about money for the rest of your life. You put it on this card and whatever you need from here on out, it's taken care of. I know that if my father was still alive, he would have retired you and he would have given you what I'm giving you right now. And the only reason that I was able to retire my mother is because of the time that I had put in, the 2 years when I was essentially incarcerated as a missionary, to change the course of my life that got me to where I am today. So I put in the time and the work and it yielded the fruit of me retiring my mother. Now, I don't know what will happen in your life if you decide to do nothing but change your life and work on you. I don't know. I don't know what will be yielded from that. But I sure as shit know that every single one of you, if you decide to go all in on yourselves while you're here, whether you're here for good or not, I don't care. You will change, and then you will become a better man and find peace and happiness. And let me tell you a secret. That's all this whole life is about. Finding peace and finding happiness. Some of it can come from money. Some of it can come from family. Some of it can come from memories. But at the end of the day, it's peace and happiness. I could put you in my mansion or I can put you in this prison. What is here is the only thing you have control of. And working on who you are on a daily basis only changes this. And every single one of you have the same exact opportunity. Wake up, work on you, and change your life. Now here's the cool thing. There are some of you who will get out one day. Hopefully soon. And you will go back to the same stupid shit you were doing if you didn't spend the time in here to change you. And then you'll be back here. Or even worse, you won't, because you'll die out there doing something stupid you shouldn't be doing because you didn't take the time to change you. The greatest advice I could ever give anybody is to go all in on you. You. Stop giving a shit about anybody else. Stop caring about what people think. You do one thing right. You do you right. You change you. You focus on you. And you don't do it any differently than a savage would seek as their hungry food. I used to tell people, you want to change? You got to learn how to be a savage. To change who you are takes every single piece of you. And if you're here, I would imagine there's probably not a better investment than to savagely try to change yourself. If you commit to do that, I don't know where you guys are going to be. I sure as shit hope one day I get to meet you on the street. You shake my hand and tell me everything changed from today. Today was that pivoting moment. I don't know what you guys go through. I know every one of you have hard shit, have a hard life, and have a reason why you're here. I don't care. Because from today forward, all of us, staff included, get the opportunity to decide right now, I'm going to change all the bad shit about me and I'm going to get better. I'm going to progress. I'm going to find happiness. I'm going to find peace. I'm going to change me and then I'm going to change the world. Now, I would imagine a lot of you have family. The greatest thing in the whole world is once you change yourself, you change your generations. You get to change your children's lives. You get to change your mother and your father's life and your grandchildren. Now, I would dare bet that most of you have some trauma and some bullshit that you got to work through. And I would dare bet that trauma and bullshit was passed down to you from your father and your mother and from their father and their mother. And that shit will continue to get passed down as long as you allow it. But at some point in someone's generation, somebody has to make the decision that right now is the pivoting moment when everything in the past stops. Right now with me. My family had trauma, my family had bullshit, but let me tell you what my family didn't have. They didn't have money. My dad wasn't rich, his dad wasn't rich, his dad wasn't rich. Guess what? That shit stopped with me. And my children will be rich, and their children will be rich. Because I decided that the buck stopped with me. That I was going to put in the time and the energy to change, to stop the generational curse all the way through. And I don't know a better time, even though it may not be favorable, than to do that right now, while you're incarcerated. You have been allotted time to do one thing. Change you. Change everything about you. To become better, stronger, wiser, fortified. To work on your emotional, mental, spiritual health. So that, God willing, you get out, every single thing changes. But, again, and this is what I'll end with, that shit starts with you. You making the decision, I will no longer live how I have lived. I will no longer allow the excuses that have gotten me here to keep me here. I know you have trauma. I know you got bullshit from your parents. I get it. But you at some point got to accept within you that you are your own problem. And you have the key to change who you are. And you have now been given this time to do so. And for some of you, that's a lot of time. So when you get out, you should be damn near an angel. But some of you won't do this and you won't heed this counsel. And so you will waste your time in here. And when you get out, you will be back here. And you will waste your time out there. And it will be a continual cycle. So again, and I end with this. Take upon yourselves the responsibility to accept you are where you are at because of the decisions that you've made. Great. Then accept that everything moving forward is 100% in your control. And guess what? This pertains to staff too. You want to be different? Then you choose to be different. You want to change your life? Then you choose to change your life. You want to get out and be rich and be happy and be successful? You choose to do that. And no one else has that responsibility. And I say this a lot. Most people will tell you that no one is here to help you. And no one has your back. And no one is going to help you change. And that's some bullshit. You have a lot of resources right now. Resources that most people on the outside would dream of. Resources that most people on the outside are paying for. Take the resources. Use the resources. Use the people for one reason: to become better. Now, I know I've talked a lot, and you may or may not take much from this speech, but remember this. Become a savage in changing who you are, and you will see every single success that you've ever wanted in your life. In being a savage and changing you, you will find everything that you have ever dreamed of or wanted. But you got to go at it like you've never gone at it before. An hour a day ain't enough. 2 hours a day isn't enough. Waking up haphazardly with no purpose isn't enough. Get your ass out of bed with one purpose. Go to bed knowing you spent the day doing one thing: becoming better. Getting better. Actually, you know what? I got one more thing I do want to say. The greatest piece of advice I can give you. I don't know how many people here believe in God, but I do. The greatest piece of advice I can give you is this. Spend time on your hands and knees counseling with God. Ask Him why you're here. Ask Him if you can get into a place where you are in a place of self-reflection to understand that you're here because of your choices. Plead with God to help you understand what you need to understand to change. One of my greatest favorite scriptures in the whole world is a man named Menace who wrestles with God in prayer, and he wrestled for a day and a night. The reason that he wrestled is because he needed a forgiveness of his sins, and he needed to know and have answers. So here's that piece of advice for you. Wrestle with God. Spend time on your hands and knees getting things figured out. And I'll tell you a secret that I live by. Speak to God like He's real. It's okay to be mad at Him. Sometimes I swear at Him. Be real with Him, and you're going to get that real shit right back. I promise. That piece of advice changed my life. It's how I started my mission. And it's how I do everything every day. I have every single thing I have ever wanted in this life. I have actually way more than I ever wanted. And I can tell you guys right now as I stand here, the only reason I have it is because I spent day in and day out as a savage changing who I was. A dumb, chaotic dipshit that changed every single thing in his life to become who I am today. And I hope that today is that pivoting moment for you. I hope that right now is that pivoting moment in your life. That when I shake your hand in the streets, you come back to this moment and tell me that this was the moment that you decided to change everything. And that you have everything that you've ever wanted now that you're out. That's my hope for every single one of you. That's what I got. Now, if you guys got questions, raise your hands and let's hit some questions. Gentlemen in the back, stand up.
I have a question for you to do with one of your businesses.
Yeah.
Diesel Brothers.
Uh-huh.
With you making so much horsepower out of diesel fuel and engines, why don't you build a junior dragster and put a horsepower on the back of it that'll burn the tires, and let us men that love drag racing see what you can really do?
That's a damn good question I actually answered like a week ago to a young kid. You know what? I'll be honest with you. I have zero desire to shoot a track at a quarter mile. I have much more desire to build really, really big trucks that run over shit. That's why. Drag racing's okay, but I'd rather run shit over with big trucks. Or jump over airplanes, yeah. So that's your answer. Somebody else can. I just want big stuff that runs things over and destroys everything. What other questions we got?
say where I'm at in my life right now, I can't wait to shake your hand on the streets, and I just want to say thank you for everything, and thank you for showing up. So.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. I look forward to shaking your hand too. What other questions? Raise your hands. Don't be shy.
Yeah, as I'm sure all the other men feel, we're very grateful for you coming today, so thank you for that. Going back to your mission, you talked about the 5 things that you focused on. Was there any one thing that was more impactful in your growth during that time? And what were some of the things that led to that growth?
Yeah, that's a great question. So 5 things, and I'll say them again. Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and financial health. That's what I teach now. I'll tell you, the greatest thing you can ever do is just to change and build and fortify your mind, mental health. Our whole reality is based around what we believe, right? And I would dare bet that most of you believe a certain way, and it's just the way your mind works, right? And it's a really stupid excuse to say, well, that's what I believe. Well, I don't care if that's what you believe. That's not reality. If you focus on building yourself mentally, I feel like there is nothing you can't do or accomplish. All the rest of those are just pieces to that. Everything starts right here. And one of the things, and I really was not a smart kid. I barely graduated high school, but when I memorized the Bible, I got half of a photographic memory. I could look at a scripture and I would have it. And from that, I left my mission, and I could study, and I could focus, and all of these things, and it all came from the principles of me just working mentally on myself. So I would tell you specifically, if there was one, it would be to change your mindset. Your mindset is everything. And the quicker that I could get people to understand that they actually are limitless in their possibilities, the quicker they become successful. Every single person in this room, every single person has the ability to do and be anything they want to. Anything. They just don't really understand how, or they don't even believe that they can. And all it takes is a mindset shift. So I would say focus on your mental more than you focus on anything.
Hey, it's been a pleasure having you come, for real. And everybody in this room needed to hear what you had to say. There's a lot of guys that are back at the house that didn't get to come because they weren't picked or whatever. And I know this is being recorded, so if there's any way that we can get a copy and have it played on our programming channel so that everybody back at the house can see this.
I have no control over that, but I don't think that would be a hard thing. Yeah, the warden says yes. So yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate you being here. I think everybody, it's really cool to have you here. So as you're on your mission, and then getting to that point of you getting back to your family, what was your biggest fear of starting those businesses and wanting to be more successful in your life?
My biggest fear was being inadequate in everything that I did. I still carry that fear everywhere, always. Anybody who tells you that there's no such thing as fear once you get to the top is lying to you. The most successful people I've ever met in my life are just as fearful as anybody else. They have learned one simple principle, and it goes back to what you asked. They've learned how to fortify themselves mentally to work through fear. Now, I mean, dude, even coming here, there's a bit of fear as I roll into a prison because I have anxiety of confined spaces. I don't want to be here. But I have the choice to either work through that or to say, no, I'm not going to the prison. I don't want to do that, right? So learning to work through that is that's a superpower, because everybody, I don't care what anybody says, everybody has fear. The difference between those who are successful and those who are not is the ones that paralyze themselves in the fear and the ones who say, man, I'm scared as shit, but let's rock and roll. It's the only difference.
My name is Juan. I'm working on a taco truck that smoked meat. Hopefully I'll be able to talk to you in the future.
100% you will. Is it Al Pastor?
What's that?
Are you going to have Al Pastor?
Yeah.
Okay, 100% I'm there. I'm there.
I got a question. Have you ever went through addiction, or do you know anyone that's gone through addiction?
I do. In fact, I was going to have him come with me. I've got an uncle who I'm very close with. He works with me. In fact, I've rehabilitated him over the last 2 years. He's been in and out of this system for the last 25 years. He was addicted to methamphetamines and heroin. And I watched him day in and day out go back to prison. He actually spent time here too. And I will tell you that it really only comes down to one thing. In fact, I just had this conversation with him 2 days ago. It comes down to one thing. It's your daily habits. That's it. And I mean that in the sense of everything. You want to be successful, it's your daily habits. You want to change your addiction, it's your daily habits. You want to become a better man, it's your daily habits. There's no grandeur thing you're ever going to do that's going to change you. Nothing. Even having this crazy conversation with God one time is not going to do anything. It's what you do repeatedly that changes who you are or keeps you the same. So, pertaining to that, think about your daily habits.
Thank you. My name's Rodolfo Burrell. What happened to your Polynesian brother?
He went to juvie for like 3 weeks. And then he was there for about 3 months. And then he turned 18. They took him to the jail in Ephraim. He was there for like 2 more. He got in more trouble than I did because he punched him. I only kicked the door down. But he's now out. He lives in Texas and just doing phenomenal. He works in the oil fields. I actually named my oldest daughter after him. But he's doing great. And we talk once a week. Yeah.
My question to you as a successful entrepreneur, having that drive to change or be better, is there times when you lose that drive? And if so, what do you do to get that drive back? Is there something in action, something to tell yourself?
That's a good question. Let me see. I use the F word a lot, and I'm really trying to censor myself here in the church, so I'm not going to use the F word. Drive is bullshit. There's no such thing as drive. Drive's garbage. Any information that you think that I need to have more drive or motivation is bullshit. Let me tell you what success is. Success is discipline. I don't like to get up. I want to lay in bed. I don't like to go to the gym. I don't like to cold call. I don't like to do half of the shit that I do. And there is not enough motivation or drive in this world to get my fat ass to do some of that stuff. But let me tell you what does. A commitment to discipline. Again, I go back to what I told him. Daily habits is not because you love it and not because you're driven. And let me tell you a secret. No one is driven most of the time. That shit's garbage. You're not going to be motivated and driven. It's not going to happen. You make the decision right now that you decide to do something, come rain or shine. You are disciplined. You are a master. The way that a savage gets food in the open is by being disciplined in every single thing that he does. When I tell you to be a savage and changing you, it means I don't give a shit if you don't feel like it. You stay disciplined because that's what you have chosen to do. Most people will never make a real commitment to themselves and keep it because they don't understand the concept of discipline. They think that they need to be motivated and driven. And that's garbage. Most successful people will tell you they're driven and motivated about 10% of the time. And the rest is the idea, no, I'm just going to do this shit. I don't want to be here, but I'm going to do this shit because I made a commitment and I'm disciplined to it. So let go of this idea that you're going to be motivated for the next 10 years every day. Ain't going to happen. And all of you will be motivated and excited as soon as you leave here. But when you leave and you don't have me here in your face talking to you, you're going to lose motivation real quick. You have to make the decision. What I spoke about, am I going to be disciplined to it or I'm going to give up? And if I give up, where do I end up? Right back where I was until I get motivated again in a few weeks. And then it's a cycle I do over and over and over. And I ride this roller coaster of emotion and motivation. And I never really see success. So let go of that. Discipline is where all of this comes from. All the way in the back. Yeah, there you go.
Hey, I've seen a lot of your stuff on YouTube, your volunteer work, and I was just wondering, is there a way for us inmates when we get out that we can become a part of that scene of volunteering and giving our time back?
Can I give you a better answer than the one you're going to look for? You don't need me. Get your ass out in your community and volunteer. You want to rectify some of the shit you guys have done? When you get back into the community, become the person that volunteers and changes the world. You can't change the world unless you change yourself, which starts with what we talked about. But you want to get out into the community and volunteer, do it. You don't need me. I have a lot of people ask me that question, and sometimes I have the same people asking me that question that never do anything. Guess why? They're looking to join me. Don't join me. The world needs people like you to get out in the community and volunteer. Whether you have me or 15 other people, it's your choice. And if you decide to do that, guess what you're going to get? You're going to get a ton of people just like you asking, hey man, I seen you volunteer. I saw you do that. How do I join you? And they'll join you. But we got to have more people doing it without the idea that they're going to come join me or join people doing it. Now, with that answer, dude, you get out, message me. We use volunteers all the time, and I love to have people come and help. But don't let it limit you in what you're willing to do.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I've got a question based off of one of your answers. You said that you like to build stuff that runs over shit and blows shit up. Isn't that what got you in prison?
I think so, yeah. And to be honest with you, most of what should have ended me up in prison has also made me successful. It's one of the reasons why I would bet if I walked through a scenario with every single one of you, what got you here is probably also what will make you successful. But the difference is you decided to do stupid shit instead of use your brain and change who you are as a person here. The difference between someone who's in and out of prison is not much. It's those who are doing things and using their power to do something successful and those who are doing things to be destructive. That's the big difference. And most people who get out of prison that succeed end up succeeding at the same shit that put them in prison, but they did it the right way.
Thank you.
Big fan. Love you. Thanks for coming out. When you first started your businesses, what was the biggest obstacles that you had to overcome?
My mind telling me that I wasn't adequate enough to do things and that I would never make it. Not hearing I'm proud of you from my father until he died was hard on me. It really messed with me. And even today I carry it with me. So anytime I ever wanted to start a business, the first thought, the words in my mind, you ain't gonna do that. You can't do this. It's not gonna happen. You're not gonna be able to do it. You won't be successful. And once I got over that hurdle, there is literally nothing that I can't do. You guys watch. You watch me over the next 10 years and watch what I do. I don't know. I might be the president. If that's what I want to do, that's what I'm going to do. Because I have zero thought or zero limitation in my mind anymore because I don't think that I'm inadequate at anything. I think I have the ability to do and be anything that I want. Once I grasped that concept, and once again, it goes back to working on your mind like I told you, once I got that concept, it was all just hurdles. Oh, I don't have enough money. All right, I'll figure it out. I don't know what I'm doing. I'll figure it out. Oh, the business did this. All right, I'll figure it out. It didn't matter because I accepted I was going to get it done, and I never once accepted that I was going to be inadequate at it. So anybody starting anything, get over that one hurdle and change that, switch that mindset, you'll do all kinds of shit. We bought a cookie company a month ago. I don't even like cookies. Because I just think I can blow up the world with cookies. Like, I think it's a great thing. So get into that place, dude. You guys want to start a business? Greatest thing in the whole world. Get out of this idea that you can't do something. Clear your mind. Get your mind right, which you guys have plenty of time to do. And then go to work.
Thanks. Good to meet the muscle. Some of us here are Diesel Brothers fans. Kind of think we know you a little bit already.
Yeah.
My question for you is, what business venture are you most proud of, and what was the impetus that started you on that trajectory?
All right. So if you guys have followed me, I don't know if you have social media in here, but about 8 months ago, I started a program called Limitless Society. Now I've started 29 businesses in my life. 8 months ago, I was sitting in my living room with my wife. And I said, I want to make 10 people a millionaire this year. She was like, what are you talking about? I was like, I don't know. I just want to make 10 people a millionaire. So I got on social media and I said, I'm going to make 10 people a millionaire. And I had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people message me. And I was like, well, I better start a mentoring program, like where I can actually help people. And I want to change lives. So like a day later, I was like, I'm going to start mentoring. And I had hundreds and hundreds of messages of people like, if you're going to make a millionaire, I want you to make me a millionaire. I was like, okay. So I'm sitting in my living room with my wife, and she's like, well, what are you going to call it? And I said, well, I believe in God. I believe he's my father. And if he's my father, then I have the ability to do anything I want to do. I'm limitless. That's what I told her. She said, oh, okay. So what do you want to call it? And I said, I think I want to call it Limitless Society. So I started a company called Limitless Society about 8 months ago. Ryan here's the CEO now because I don't have time to do all the stuff he has to do. And from that time, it has blown up. The reason I'm speaking with you right now is because of Limitless Society. It's not because of Diesel Brothers or all the other ventures. It's because this is what I do now. I speak to people, I teach people, and I mentor people in my program. In my program, I focus on the 5 things I talked about. And I'll tell you this, I've made a lot of money. I've done a lot of cool shit. I have wonderful relationships. I have everything I've ever wanted in my life. The greatest thing in my life is helping people change theirs. That's the greatest thing. I'm going to die someday. I don't know when. But when I die, the only thing that I want left on the table is for people to say, that guy was kind of a jackass, but he changed my life. That's what I want. And I'm most proud of all of the lives that we've already changed. We've had thousands of people join the program. We've made a lot of millionaires. I've made a lot of 6-figure people. I got a cool little 18-year-old girl that's making $30K a month right now. She was making $12 an hour. Like, it's just crazy. But you ask what I'm most proud about, it's watching people change when they integrate the principles that I teach. Dude, I've had every kind of business. That's the only thing I care about. Diesel Brothers is cool and everything, but I don't want to be remembered as a Diesel brother. I want to be remembered as the guy that helped change the world.
I wanted to thank you for coming in and sharing the personal and vulnerable moments you shared, especially with your father. Because I know that's really hard to talk about in a big group setting. And I wanted to ask you about, throughout the process of change, after you felt firm in your foundation of the new you had become, was there a moment where you felt rattled in that foundation and almost slipped back and relapsed into the old habits that you tried so hard to break?
Every day. Every single day. At least once a day. I get rattled. When I was on the flight out here, I was thinking like, oh man, am I adequate enough to go speak to people about changing their lives, especially men who are incarcerated, who may be here forever? Am I the person that should be speaking? I have those thoughts all the time. And I have the choice every single day to make the decision, like, am I going to accept that thought or am I going to work through that? I wish I could tell you guys I'm a better man. I'm not. I have every inadequacy, every fear that everybody here feels. I just, for some reason, have chosen to push, and I will never, ever stop. There is nothing in this world that is going to stop me from doing what I'm doing. There's nothing. It's not going to happen. So, to answer the question, yeah, every day. All the way in the back.
How much money do you have to start your business, your first one?
So something I pride myself in, I've started 28 companies, and I've started all 28 companies with zero, all 24 companies with $0, and I started the rest of them with $7,500 or less. It's the reason why people take me seriously. You don't need money to get money. It does help a lot, and you can make a lot more money with more money, but you don't need to have money to start a company, and that's why we have such a big reach now. Most people don't have money. Doesn't mean you shouldn't start a business. Starting a business is an American dream. That's what everybody should be doing. And to do it without capital is most people's only option, so that's what I teach.
Thank you. So my theme would be on failure. You see a lot of failure in here with what we were at. This is my 7th time back to prison in 7 years. And I'm sure you know a little something about failure yourself, as maybe things don't always work out how you plan to do. How would you say, and what kind of techniques do you use to overcome that feeling of self-defeating behaviors and up here mentally, especially when you don't achieve success in what you're looking for?
Let me ask you this question. You ever put your hand on a hot stove?
Yeah.
Did you do it 7 times until you figured out that it was hot and you shouldn't touch it again?
No, but I went back probably a 2nd time just to check.
Okay. That truthfully is your answer. If you stop doing shit and not learning, you will continue to do it over and over and over again. We're given this life as an experience to learn. It's plain and simple. If you don't learn through your choices, you're not learning because you're dumb. That's not the reason. It's because you're choosing not to learn. You have an opportunity every failure and every mistake to take actual knowledge and then take the knowledge and make it wisdom, and you do that through action. So, I ask you again, how many times are you going to do something until you decide that you're ready to learn and change it? We got any more questions? I thought there was, one or two more.
So how did you start a business with $0, zero capital? Investors? Is it just an idea?
No, I've never had an investor in my whole life. I just learned how to finagle deals. When I was 22, I started a personal training company, and I got trainers to come on board to buy their own equipment, and then I sold them their programs and I made them rich. After that, I started a dental office. I walked into a dental office. I told the dentist that I would make him more money than he could imagine if he would let me run the business, so I started his dental office. I did the same thing in a plastic surgery clinic. Took my wife in to get a breast augmentation. I told the doctor, I said, I can make you richer than you're making right now. All you got to do is let me start the business, run the business, and we'll do it. Started a plastic surgery clinic, $0. I did the same thing over and over and over again. The truth is most of you guys understand that no matter what the rules are, you can bend or break them. That's probably why you're here. But if you're good at getting here through bending and breaking rules, you can do the same thing legally in the system that we've been given. You want to start a business? I guarantee you can structure a deal to get that business off the ground without any money. You just got to be willing to finagle, bend, and break rules that you've been told society accepts. As soon as you do that, sky's the limit. And I've done it over and over and over again. The truth is everybody wants to benefit. You need to figure out how everybody benefits without putting cash in their hand.
So you're obviously a successful entrepreneur. Would you be willing to share some experiences where you weren't successful in business and how you overcame that?
Listen, I'll be here till tomorrow if I tell you about the things I wasn't successful in. But dude, this is the truth, and I'll just give a simple answer to that. I have never failed because I never really gave up. I've never had a business that I did not make money in, ever. And I have been through the shit. I have been drugged through mud. I have spent years doing things that I didn't make any money until I made money. I don't know if it's just because it's like I'm not all there, but I don't give up. I just don't. And I keep going and keep going. And I also don't make 7 mistakes over and over and over again without learning. Now, I make mistakes just like you, but I take from them the win that teaches me not to do it again. The only difference between me and anyone else is I will just keep burning and burning and burning until I figure out exactly what I need not to do so that I can figure out what I should do. Because I don't have any answers ever. I'm just willing to make mistakes and learn and make mistakes and learn and make mistakes and learn. Most people aren't. So you put that, again, back to that mentality thing, you shift your mind, everything changes. Let's do one more question. I think there was...
So this one has to pertain to relapse. So when I had gotten you incarcerated the first time, if you can go back and change it, would you change anything also? If it was happening again, how would you go about that? Because some of us are here for drugs, violence. I've been incarcerated since I was 16 years old. I'm 25. And if I've changed a lot. I've changed my life. I'm gangbanging or nothing. And then if something like that was happening to my sister, I don't think I can sit there and do nothing, honestly. It'd be hard. So that's my question.
So, I don't have any regret in my life. I have zero regret. And I haven't made some of the mistakes that you guys have made. I've definitely made some bad ones. I don't have any regret. And the reason I don't have any regret is because I've taken a piece from everything. I don't know what it serves you to look back. I really don't. unless you're taking from it a lesson or some kind of knowledge, I don't know what it serves to look back. I only look forward. You're 25, one day you're going to get out. I don't know if it really matters what you did when you were 16. It only matters what you're going to do moving forward. And I'll tell you, I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying this. I'll tell you this. Become powerful as fuck. Become rich. You have a lot more power and you can do a lot more things when shit like that happens. I can tell you right now, one of my daughters, one of my sisters gets raped, I'm gonna do it way different and it will be legal and it will be much worse than me kicking his door down because I will become powerful in everything that I do. See, the system is set up to allow justice, but you gotta become powerful. Some of that is rich and some of that is right here. You guys wanna be powerful, you gotta change your mind. Everything starts with your mind. I'm a dangerous person not because I'm willing to go to prison, but because I'm willing to go to the ends of the earth doing the right thing to get what I want. Become that person. All right, guys, that's my time. Thank you.